to throw some highlight on writing the research papers. What are the ethics, ingredients that you are required to write the research paper? And believe me, these are my thoughts. Okay, so don't consider these as a standard guideline, because every individual group, researcher group, or having their own way of writing. Okay, so these are my or we can say our group standard guidelines that we are going to we are following since last 4 to 5 years. Okay, so I have divided this entire presentation into, let me just, I have divided this entire presentation into 4 parts. In the first part, we are going to discuss about what exactly the meaning of research paper and what are the essential contents required to write the research paper. That means what are the fundamental theory behind the research paper and what are the ingredients required to write the research paper. Like we start from the abstract till the references. Okay. Now in second part of my presentation, we are going to discuss about how to choose appropriate publication venue, because this is the hurdle for every researcher, that they have paper with them, but where to submit it, how to select the good quality conference or good quality journal for their publication. Third part, in third part of my presentation, I am going to discuss about whenever you are getting some response from the editor or editor-in-chief, comments regarding your paper that you have already submitted. So how to address the reviewer comments. Okay, so this is very, very important, that unless and until you know how to address the reviewer comment, then again the same paper, the revised version of your paper, again go back to the same reviewers, and reviewer may ask certain set of new questions also if they are not satisfied by your reply. So it is very, very essential for all of you that you must be aware about that, how to address the comments of the reviewer. Okay, and in last part of my presentation, I am going to discuss about some journal metrics. So in this part, I am going to discuss about what exactly the meaning of Google Scholar, Scopus, and how the Google Scholar and Scopus is going to help the researcher. Okay, so now just to start my presentation, so the disclosure statement for my presentation is, so in this presentation, I have put forward my thoughts, my experiences on how to write a research paper, especially in application-oriented computer science field. But I know it very well that here the audience are not only from the computer science background, audience are also from the mechanical engineering, from applied sciences. So I am going to give include some examples related to the other disciplines also, not only specific to computer science. So everybody have their own writing style. So my thoughts may not be considered as strict rules or guidelines. Okay. So these are my personal experiences, and it vary from journal to journal, from writer to writer, or you can say from author to author. Okay. Now moving further. So you have spent months and years conducting your research. Let's say you are working on one area, and since last 2 months you are working in one area. Let's say I'm taking one example. You are working in Internet of Thing. Okay. So in Internet of Thing area, if you are working for since last 2 months, then what is the next step that will pay you in research community? So the next step that will pay you in research community is get it published. Otherwise, what happens? Whatever analysis you have made related to the title since last, let's say I'm taking just an example, last 2 months, that will remain in your desktop or in your laptop. So research in the community, the research community will give you weightage only when your analysis, your findings, your result get it published. Okay. So without that, otherwise it remains in your laptop and it has no meaning. So my advice to all of you is, whether you are writing any review paper, survey paper, analytical paper, try to get it published, start from the conferences. Otherwise what happens? We are wasting our 2 months, we are wasting our, let's say, 1 year, and we have not come up with a good quality paper. Then this whole 1 year is wastage. Okay. So now moving further. So good quote by researcher: writing is easy. All you do is stare at a blank sheet of paper until drops of blood form on your forehead. So this sentence has its own meaning. If you want to target the IEEE transactions, so I think some of you have aware about the IEEE transactions journal standard. Let's say in 10 pages paper, they require only the introduction and related part, they just need to wind up, author just need to wind up this part in 1.5 page. And 3 to 4 pages strong mathematical analysis is highly required if you want to target the IEEE transactions. Okay, so we will see in couple of few slides how to insert the mathematical segment in your paper and what are the different ingredients required for writing the research paper and getting it published. Okay, so what exactly the meaning of research paper? So research paper means hours spent in the library, more are in writing notes, drafts, and headache of dealing with mysterious rules of documentation. Why this mysterious rules of documentation? That means, let's say you want to allocate one topic to your student. Let's say that student is of UG or PG. Okay, you say that no, you go take 2 days or 3 days or 1 week, and this is your title. Let's say, for example, image processing. Okay, and try to come up with some findings, some 50 papers. Out of these 50 paper, 40 are from the IEEE transactions or ACM transactions, and rest 10 are from the conference. So then there is a big question mark in the student mind, how to identify, how to select these papers, number one. Number two, which paper is relevant to you and which paper is not relevant to you. So I'm going to throw some highlight on these aspects also. So I'm coming back to this particular slide. So research paper means hours spent in the library for finding out some material related to your title or related to the title that you for which you want to publish your paper. Now, other standard definitions of research papers are: it is a document which contains original research results or reviews of existing results. Okay, so it is a document that describes the research contribution made in the field. Let's say, for example, if you want to write one paper in Internet of Things and routing analysis of routing protocols in the Internet of Things environment. So you need to give some analytical result. You need to give some kind of tabular comparison in your paper that describe your contribution in the field of Internet of Things. So likewise, I can say a research paper is a document written in a scientific manner that describes the contribution in the selected area that you have selected. If your paper doesn't contain any kind of contribution, then there is no meaning of writing that particular paper. We will see in couple of few slides by taking some example how my statement is true in the context of selecting a research problem. Okay, now moving further. So how many types of research papers are there? So normally we have this kind of tendency that I want to submit the paper in conference, in journal, or so I will explain one by one. So there are variety of categories of papers, research paper, or venues where you can submit your research paper. So let's say I start from the conferences. So conference paper, let's say conference paper start from the poster, 1 page, where in one poster you need to give the abstract, let's say in 100 word, or your findings. Forget about your related work, forget about introductory part, you just come to your findings. So some of the conferences accept the poster presentation, that is of 1 page. Some conferences accept the short paper or long paper. If I take one example of Springer conferences, if you want to target Springer conference, then Springer conference, the page length for Springer conference ranges from 10 to 12 or sometime up to 15. If you want to target any IEEE conference, then 5 to 6 pages, double column, as per the IEEE template. If you want to target, let's say I'm taking one example, Infocom, one of the top tier conferences by the CORE. CORE is a CORE. CORE is a ranking framework which decides that what is the ranking of the conference. So we normally don't follow this kind of procedure. Let's say I have one paper available with me, and one fellow send me one link of one conference, and without knowing that what is the significance of this conference and what is the value of this conference, whether this conference is valid for my contribution or not, what is the quality of that conference. So if you want to get the answer of these questions, so my advice to all of you is to check the CORE ranking conference. Okay, so CORE is a platform where if you type the name of the conference, then ultimately the ranking of the conference will come. So they have categorized the conferences into A category, A star, B. Okay. So if I take one example of Infocom conference, one of the top tier conference of A star conducted every year by IEEE ComSoc itself. So they accept paper is of 8 pages, up to 8 pages, and that is of blind review without the author name. Okay. So these are about the conferences. So various categories of papers are there in conference, start from the poster up to the regular submissions. If I take example of journals and magazines, so we will take one by one. So how many categories are there? The list is very long. So review paper, survey paper, then research letters, experimental paper, position paper, and last category is the white paper. Okay, so I will take one by one. If I take review paper, this is a kind of a myth among the researchers that review and survey both are the same. Interchangeably, the authors are using this term, a comprehensive survey, a comprehensive review. No, both are the different things. The, the examination or the writing style of the review paper and writing style of the survey paper, both are different altogether. So I will tell you how exactly it is different. So if you want to write a review paper, then for writing the review paper is critically examine technology. Let's say, for example, I want to write a review paper on Internet of Things, or forget about Internet of Things. I want to write a paper on security and privacy in healthcare 4.0. So my application is healthcare 4.0. I want to write with application healthcare 4.0 the security and privacy opportunities for the researcher. Okay, so review paper critically examine a technology, tracing its progress since its inception. When this healthcare comes into the picture from that day, let's say if I'm taking one example, let's say just for the roughly, I'm taking one example from 1969, this technology was incepted. So I'm taking the traces of this technology from 1969 until 2020. So it is my responsibility to give highlight the contribution made by different researchers with respect to the technology that I have selected, which was incepted in the year of 1969. Okay, so review paper critically examine a technology, tracing its progress from its inception to the present, and perhaps into the future also. What is the futuristic vision? Let's say we are in 2020. If I want to make a kind of assumption that no, what is the futuristic vision of the Internet of Things? So by making some kind of analysis, it is my responsibility as an author that I want to throw some highlight on the futuristic version of that these are the gaps which are going to be emerge in the coming time. So this is about the review paper. If I need to compare the review paper with the survey paper, then in case of survey paper, we comprehensively view a technology. So there is a difference between reviewing a technology with a comprehensive view or with a critical examine view. Okay. So I will tell you by taking one example. So in survey paper, we comprehensively view a technology, its application area. So here I am targeting in the survey paper, let's say, for example, if I take blockchain as an application, so what could be the ways of adopting the blockchain technology in the supply chain management system? Although I'm writing the paper on the supply chain management system, but at the same time, I want to explore it. What happens if I want to adopt the blockchain technology in the supply chain management system? So that means in survey paper, we are more targeting about the application area of the selected domain. Issues, what are the issues with respect to, let's say, for example, if I take security and privacy in healthcare 4.0, so what are the issues with respect to security and privacy in healthcare 4.0? Let's say you take one example, if I want to write a paper in healthcare domain, and as a patient, I don't want to disclose my identity, my telephone number, my email ID. So how your system can maintain the privacy of the patient? Okay, and very important part in the survey paper is the taxonomy or the ramification, the subdivision. Let's say you can say that in machine learning we have different class of classifiers. Let's say we take some supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised learning or reinforcement learning. So at the level 1, I am having 4 segregation of the learning techniques. Some are fall under the category of supervised learning, some are fall under the category of semi-supervised learning. So this is what? This is the ramification, this is the subdivision of the identified title that I have selected. Okay, so this is exactly the difference between the survey paper and review paper, and I will tell you in a very simple way that many of the researchers are not aware, or students are not aware about it, what exactly the difference between the review paper and survey paper, and they are just use a hybrid approach. Some of the rules they are following for review paper, and some of the content they are following for the survey paper. Okay, so this is about the survey and review paper. Next category of paper is the tutorial paper. So tutorial paper is what? What exactly the meaning of tutorial paper? So in case of tutorial paper, you as a author want to explain the technology and may give a practical information for implementing of it. But these papers are written for the purpose of informing non-specialist engineers about a particular technology. What exactly the meaning of this? So magazines, you know it very well that the circulation of the magazines is very large. So at that particular instant of time, it is responsibility of the author that you want to inform to the community that if I am not aware about what exactly I am a guy, let's say I am a researcher working in the area of mathematics, okay, and I want to explore about the image processing. I'm just taking an example, okay, but I don't know the fundamental principle or technologies behind this image processing. But still, I am interested to read out this particular article related to the image processing. So then the readers prefer to read the tutorial paper, and tutorial papers are published in the magazines. So 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 it is the responsibility of the author that how intelligently you are writing the paper, because you're writing the paper for the community who are not specialists in that particular domain, but still they are interested to read the content. So magazine paper are written in a very simple language, 4,500 words, 15 references, 6 tables and figures. Okay, no mathematical equations, very less, 1 to 2 mathematical equations, no acronym at all, write in a simple manner. Okay, so likewise, if I compare, so all the magazines have very good impact factor. If I take one example of wireless communication magazine, so wireless communication magazine is having impact factor of 11 plus. Why this impact factor is 11 plus? Because the circulation of magazine is more. If you take example of IEEE Network magazine, IEEE Cloud Computing magazine, IEEE Internet of Things magazine, so these all are the good magazines. So my advice to all of you, please target this magazine. Only you need to do what your idea should be novel, number one. No one has ever touched this area. You are the first one who are going to touch this area. Okay, so this is third category of paper that we call it as a tutorial paper. Now moving further, next one is the research letter. So research letter means what? The research letter, these papers are communicate brief report of the data. That means only within 4 to 5 pages or sometimes 3 to 4 pages, you need to wind up your paper. So no need to frame out the related work, no need to frame out the long introduction, only one paragraph of introduction and directly come to your proposed approach. So that means in the research letter, your original research is more focused. You are more focused on the original research. Okay, so now next category of paper is the position paper. So the goal of the position paper is to convince the audience that your opinion is valid and worth listening to without the need to present complete research work. So position paper means what? You want to float some idea to the community without validating that idea by claiming that my idea is perfect. But real implementation, you are not going to perform the real implementation. Okay. So that is again another category of research paper. Now the third category of research paper is the experimental paper. Experimental paper. So in case of experimental paper, in case of experimental paper is a systematic and scientific approach where you have some results with you, and that results are scenario based results. So ultimate objective is to find incremental solution. At least if you are not contributing a novel idea to the scientific community, then at least it is required from you that you need to need to perform some incremental solution at least. Okay. Now moving further, so this is about the types of paper. Now the next part is the types of research. How many types of research are there? So there are, broadly speaking, two categories of research. The first one is the incremental research, where the problem is already known and you are not the new one who is going to touch this area. Already many researchers have already working in this area. Okay, so that kind of research we can call it as an incremental research. For example, if I take one example, you want to work in the wireless sensor network, okay, and you want to work in the area of wireless sensor network in energy efficiency or lifetime enhancement. So some of the researchers have already proposed their solution, but they have the lifetime of, let's say, 85%. So by making some kind of changes or making some hybrid approach in your system, if you need to compare with the existing system or state of the art system, you can claim that no, my system perform or my approach have has 96% of lifetime. So you have extended the lifetime roughly 11%. So that kind of research we can call it as an incremental research. So this incremental research is highly required, at least required from the researcher, from the students. Okay. Now moving further, another category of research is the novel idea. So that means you are the first one, the problem itself is new, you are the first one who is going to target this area. Okay. So this type of doing this novel research is a challenging task but not impossible. Okay. Now moving further, so now this is about the types of paper, types of research. Now, how to, once you know what is paper, what is the type of research, then the next is how to gather the material related to the title that you have identified. So I have divided this gathering material section into three parts: note taking, avoid plagiarism, and type of sources. So we are going to discuss one by one. So so don't do like that. What I need to convey to you people from this slide, that once you need to convey to your, or let's say if one student comes to your cabin and you say that no, this is your problem area, let's say image processing or IoT. So you have 3 days and try to explore about the Internet of Things. Okay, and come up with 100 plus paper. Then what the tendency that normally the students are doing, they are going directly typing the routing in Internet of Things in the Google, and whatever links the Google is going to provide them, they just make a kind of a folder and copy the content from that without knowing that they are searching from good website or bad website. So what exactly the meaning of this good website and bad website? If you are directly going to a publication house, let's say if you are going directly to IEEE Explore. So by going directly to IEEE Explore, if you type one journal, let's say IEEE IoT journal, okay. If you type IEEE IoT journal, then directly you redirect to IEEE IoT journal, and you have the list of issues and the volumes available. So there you can easily identify that this paper is written by 4 author, 2 author, what are their email ID, affiliation. So that type of website we can call it as a good website, where the source you can easily identify it. Because later on everyone can ask you that you taken these 4 lines from where, what are the base for these 4 lines. So writing the research paper is not an easy but not complicated, but one thing you need to be very, very careful, that you need to avoid the plagiarism, the copy paste kind of philosophy. Okay. So in case of copy paste kind of philosophy, you need to just neglect it. So sometimes students feel like that we have library available, we have web search available, Google available, and Google will support us and give all the results. No, it is not going to solve your purpose unless and until you differentiate between the good source of finding the material or bad source of finding the material. Bad source of finding the material means what? The URL where the source is not defined, that you are getting the content from which website, written by whom, what are their email IDs, what are their affiliations. If you are not in a position to locate these aspects, then there is no meaning to get the content from these websites. Okay, so forget about the bad websites, always take the content from directly the publication houses. Now moving further, So gathering material, how to gather the material. So when taking notes, be sure to cite sources very carefully. What about the author name, title, page number, publication and publication date. And some taking notes methods. So again, these methods vary from student to student, from researcher to researcher. Some students say that no, I am directly reading the content, okay, and then print and then typing my notes in my desktop or in my laptop. Some students say that no, I believe in using the note cards. Some students say that no, some researchers say that no, handwriting notes is a good option for me, and that will long term memorize me the content. So again, it will vary from student to student, from researcher to researcher. So any one option you can select. It is entirely up to you which option is perfect for you. Now moving further, so this is very important for all of you that while gathering the material, you should avoid the plagiarism. So precise note taking should help you to avoid unintentional plagiarism, because in the precise note taking, you must be careful and noting the source of that particular literature that you are getting. So sometimes if the idea is not common knowledge, let's say if I take one example, the sun rises and also sets. So this is not a new phenomena and you cannot change it. So note the product of your original thought processes. Then ultimately, if you have any doubt, please cite it. Cite it in the caption of the figure itself, cite it in the table of the caption of the table itself, and cite it in the body of the entire section or entire and at the relevant location in the paper. Some student, I want to quote this also. Some student have this kind of habit that lots of particularly in predatory journal, lots of papers are there where the source, they are directly figures, copying the figures from the already published papers, okay, and then they are not changing it, and even though they are not citing it. So it is an ethical crime. It is a crime in research community. We have many examples that where the students, UG or PG students, or sometimes the researchers, they are figures, directly copying the figures or directly copying the tables from the already published paper without making any change of it, without making any kind of contribution to it, even though the number of rows and columns are same, exactly they are copying it. So believe me, in long run you are in a trouble. If you are doing this kind of habit, then you later or sooner you will be in a trouble, because all the materials are available on internet, and internet is an open channel. Everyone have the access of the data. And if, let's say I am taking my example, if I am the author of that paper and you are taking the directly the one of the pick from my paper or one of the table from my already published paper, I will directly shoot out the mail to the editor in chief that this gentleman with this name, email ID and affiliation has plagiarized my content without my consent. Here the consent, CTP, consent plays an important role. You have not taken the consent from me. Okay, so this we can consider as a top level crime in the research community. And you have seen in many of the journal homepage that they have the list of defaulter researchers or retract. Then your paper is retracted from the journal. What is the meaning of this retracted? That means they have written on the bottom of retraction that this gentleman has copied the content from the already published paper and this is the source of the published paper. So on the complaint of this particular researcher, we have retracted their item from our repository. And believe me, this type of retraction will remain throughout your life. This is a bad impact on you. Okay, so my final tip to you is, if you are in a doubt, so please cite it without any hesitation. Okay, now moving further. So while gathering the material, I have already told you that it is an academic crime or unethical so action. So many researchers were retracted by the journals, and soon this list is going to be increased, because if we as a researchers are following this kind of habit that we are just copying the content from already published paper, then this is not going to solve our purpose. Okay, now moving further. So what are the types of sources from where you can collect the literature related to your title that you have identified? So let's say some students have this kind of habit, or researchers have this kind of habit that, let's say I am a political science student, I'm working in cinematography, I'm working in the philosophy area. Okay, so depending upon your discipline, you have to select the source. Okay, if I take one example of, let's say some students have this kind of habit, no, I want to take some data from the already written materials also. So written materials is available on the internet, media, film, video, television, news, or social media. Sometimes personal criteria, every individual researcher have their own personal criteria also. Sometimes they have a kind of habit of reading habit. Or normally, if I say 80% of the content the researchers are going to gather from the publication houses. And publication houses include the books, scientific journals, national or international theses, conferences, okay, some white papers, okay, so written resources. So again, you have different literatures, but here my advice to all of you is directly go to the publication houses, okay, and search the volume by volume, issue by issue. And in the last of my presentation, I am going to give some tips to you how to search the content on the Scopus, and how the Scopus is going to help you to gather the material related to your title. Now moving further, so once you have the material with you, so don't feel like that. Okay, there is no need to become this. Why? Because if you type Internet of Thing in the URL of IEEE, then believe me, roughly taking an example, more than 2000 link will appear. Some are from the books, some are from the conferences, some are from the journals. So now the big question comes, which one you have to select and which one you have to discard. Okay, so that I will tell you which one you have to select and which one you have to discard depending upon the requirement of your title. Okay, so research is a teamwork, and at the last you need to combine whatever content you are getting from the magazine, newspaper, or article, from the books, from the internet or web, or from the journals. You need to integrate all. First you need to create a separate folder: content from the book, content from the magazine, content from the journal, content from the internet and web, and list down the sources of all. And then depending upon your requirement, reading the abstract, conclusion, and all, you need to come to a conclusion that these papers are relevant for me. Then try to follow a kind of a combined approach. Now the next part is the what could be the structure of a research paper. What could be the structure of a research paper? So this is very important for you. Why it is important? Structure of any research paper is very important for you. So sometimes students have this kind of habit that they are start writing the paper without deciding the structure and without deciding the venue of that paper, and ultimately it going to harm you in terms of what. I will take one example. Let's say I want to submit paper in computer and electrical engineering journal, Elsevier journal. Okay, very good journal of Elsevier. Now that journal exact paper is of only 13 to 14 pages with a maximum references of 25. So if I'm not aware about the venue, then how I can frame out the structure of my research paper? So what exactly the need of framing the structure of the research paper? There is a need of framing the structure of the research paper. Number one, it will ease the process, your process, that how much content I need to write in which section, percentage wise, number one. Number two, what scientific contribution I am going to made in each and every independent sections relevant to the title that I have identified. So if I take one example, let's say your paper start from the title, author's name, and affiliation. Roughly, I will take one example. So abstract, if I take 100%, let's say 20 pages. So out of these 20 pages, 5% of abstract, introduction, 15% of the total, related work, 10% of the total, proposed approach, 30% of the total, experiments and results, 30% of the total, and conclusion and future work is 5% of the total. Acknowledgement is optional, reference is 5%. So if you take this example, so majorly the proposed approach and experiment will constitute the 160%. Okay, so this could be one of the structure of the research paper. if I now the next one is, once you decide the structure of the research paper, that this could be the structure of my paper. Three pages I need to write for the introduction, 2 pages I need to write for the related work, 5 pages, I'm just taking roughly figures, 5 pages I need to write for the proposed approach, and 5 to 6 pages I need to write for the experimentation, and half page, or let's say 200 word and 150 word for the abstract, and 200 word for the conclusion. So likewise, if you are framing the structure of your research paper, then you are going to ease your process of writing, because sometimes it happens that we are writing the related work and related work is going up to 8th page. There is no need to write the related work in 8 pages, because that work has already been done. So why the related work is more important in your paper? Reviewer want to know that how you are going to compare your approach with the state of the art approaches. So that is the only requirement to have the related work in your paper. And believe me, if you include a kind of a tabular comparison, where the last row is your proposed approach and all remaining rows are the existing state of the art work, then you are comparing your work with the existing state of the art approaches. So that means what? That means what? You are going to solve the purpose of the reviewer, that this is the novelty in my work, and I have already compared my approach, my work with the other existing work with respect to these parameters. Then only you need to write 3 to 4 paragraph are more than enough. Okay, now if you have frame out the structure, then the next step is start writing the research paper. So again there are variety ways of writing the research paper sequence. Some students say that no, title, I start from the first title, author name, affiliation, abstract, introduction I am writing, then I am writing related work, then proposed approach, then experiment, then conclusion, then acknowledgement, references. So this could be one of the many ways. Okay,